Hello, guys. And just so you know, I'm doing a live Q&A for those guys who do the free training course and all of that stuff, because now is the perfect opportunity for you to get your questions answered. Oh, give me a second, because I'm getting some feedback. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for you to get your questions answered. No such thing as a stupid question. I do get inundated daily with questions, which I can't reply to them all. So if you have any questions at all about digital marketing in general or whatever it may be, then just now is the time to get them asked. But in the live chat, let me know where you're from. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes before I do kick off, just to let people jump in onto the chat. So yeah, any questions, do not sit there and lurk and think, oh, I can't ask this or that. Any question is a good question. Do not be scared to ask beginner questions here. We've all been there, so ask away. Don't be shy. Hello from Albania. Is that where you're from, Lee Wild? Albania. Interesting. Yeah, it's nice to see where people come from. We get people from a lot of weird and wonderful places, and yeah, it's good to have such a wide audience out there. Tommy Finnan, hope you are well. Sunny Kildaya, Gravesy, good to see you. Blogging Tex from Nepal, good to see you, man. I'll sort your questions out later on. Mr. Tommy Finnan, you've been hiding for a while. Where have you been hiding? But I'm just going to start with the questions. Just make sure that you put your questions there and I'll answer them. Also, guys, if you're interested in expiring domains or done for you affiliate websites, odys.global sponsor the channel. Check them out. You can get a free £100 bonus. But enough of all that. Pierre Giorgio, URL indexer, Omega indexer is the one that I use personally, and it works very well. So I don't really, at the moment, obviously even over the last few years, a lot of indexers have worked, then don't work, then work again, then don't work. So I think Omega is the one just now that works very, very well. So yeah, it's the only one I can really recommend. It's the only one I would try just now. As I've said in numerous other shows, though, I don't obsess over indexing. It kind of happens naturally anyway. So I don't obsess over it. But if I do want to get something indexed quick, then Omega is my choice. Mr. Paul Hogden, going to be a humdinger. You love that word. So there you go. I'm good, thanks. Whoever's asking. Yeah, I'm all good. All good. It's a pain when Facebook doesn't put the face through, but yeah, I'm all good. Hope all is well with yourself. Hi, Mark. Good to see you. So other questions. Hey, man, we talk about success a lot in SEO. What's my biggest failure? What keyword can you not move? Do you know what? Off the top of my head, I couldn't really tell you the keyword as such that I couldn't move, but I have had a lot of failures. For sure, not in particular in terms of rankings or anything like that, just the wrong niches, the wrong setup, the wrong processes, bought a load of garbage, hired a lot of garbage people. So I've made more mistakes than anyone, really. And that always, I see it as part of an apprenticeship. But I've never really struggled as such with a keyword that I can really think of off the top of my head, that one that's not really moved. I think in most cases, if you're doing the right stuff, your keywords will move to some degree. I mean, of course, I've worked with projects where there's not been the right budget to go after the keywords that maybe the clients expected to go after, and stuff like that. And of course, that's fine. But in my heart of hearts, I always knew that was going to be the case anyway. So it comes down to budget. But on personal stuff, there's no such thing that you can't move as such. I think when you're tweaking and trying different stuff, if you can't get movement, you're probably doing a lot of the wrong stuff. And of course, I've been there early doors in my career doing stuff, and my sites went backwards and whatnot. But yeah, I've had a lot of failures and entered a lot of wrong niches and done a lot of the wrong stuff. So hopefully that kind of answers your question. The next one, Lisa. Is it okay to delete internal links and anchors if you've cocked them up? Yes, why not? If you've cocked them up, make sure that you go and fix them. I think that is, or always has to be, the end goal is making sure that you do it. It's not as if it's going to give a 404 error or anything like that. If you've got the wrong anchor, just make sure that you do change it or link to the right money page or whatever it is you're going to do with your internal linking structure. So do not be scared to tweak that stuff up, Lisa. If it's not working, fix it. Simple as that. So there you go. Thank you, Ryan Durrani. Have another beer in me. People should lap up your advice as much as they can. They should, Ryan. But some people don't know what they don't know or think you're full of shit or whatever. So, yeah, it is what it is. But thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated, as always. Hi, Craig. I'm from India and I want to know, can we rank our website without using any specific tools? So, yes, you can rank any website. You don't have to use tools. The tools don't do work as such unless you're using automated link building tools or whatever. I think, you've got to use tools just, in terms of keyword research, competitor analysis, help you long-term, in terms of speed and accuracy and everything else. But you can do all this kind of stuff manually, writing content, building links are the two main things to do. But you do want to be using tools where possible to scale up and speed up your process and make sure that you are going after the right keywords and everything else. So, yeah, hopefully that helps you. Try Bing Webmaster Tools. Good suggestion from Paul. Thanks very much, Blogging Techs. Hello, Facebook user. So, Tommy, you've been setting up your own freelance web design SEO company and now up and running and back on for more tips. Good man, good man. It's always good to see someone doing a bit of work and launching something new, and hopefully you get a whole bunch of success with that as well, Tommy, which I'm sure you will. So, yeah, we shout out to Tommy and his new web design SEO company. Good luck with it, as I say. Which is best, SEMrush or the Ahrefs? Personal choice, I prefer SEMrush, but I'm not saying Ahrefs is any less good or worse or anything like that. Just personal preference. I've used SEMrush for years. I prefer their interface and stuff like that. So SEMrush for me. Lee Wild, what is an efficient way to compete with older, very blog productive competitors? I mean, you've got to kind of match what they do, Lee Wild, in terms of volume of content and stuff like that. I wouldn't be put off by the links and stuff that they've got, because you can always do better. Again, but it comes down to budget and time. I think that's where you would probably start to use expired domains and everything else to catch up, with in terms of power. But content, you've just got to go for it. And I'll give you a story here. So I was talking to a guy, he's a good friend of mine, Harsh Agarwal, based over in India. He is probably the most famous and biggest blogger out there. His website, shoutmeloud.com. And I thought I was doing well with hundreds of blogs. And then I was sitting with Harsh and we were just talking over a beer. and he was telling me, the sheer volume of posts that he does. So I was like, man, I don't know if he's at it or not. So I went away and checked his sitemap, and lo and behold, he literally has thousands of blogs, and they all rank, and he gets so much traffic and everything else. So people always do have that edge on you. And obviously he's got a team who does all his content, and it's, he's got processes and works at scale. So anyone can be, you've got to match that. I'm not just going to beat him by doing some weird trick. I've got to match him in terms of content, and that takes time and money. So you can catch them, but if people have been doing it for 5 or 6 years, then that's going to be a hard ask. So if you're starting now, so you just got to try and do what you can, or grab some of the good stuff that they're ranking for and replicate that, and then work from there. Vivek, I'm running an automation site, getting some initial results too. How can I boost the rankings? Without seeing it, very hard for me to say, but content and links are there, CTR, sending traffic to your website, through other sources such as Facebook and social media, and maybe even some paid sources will help you. That all goes some way to helping you boost your rankings, but obviously without seeing your site specific, it's hard to point out any specific weaknesses, but those are just some of the things that I would do, and of course do more content. What is the best current practice for title and meta to increase CTR? I mean, I always have my keyword at the start of a title tag, and then go on and say something hopefully catchy, or trying to encourage click through or whatever. And likewise with a meta description, you've got to try and encourage people to click on it. There is no best practice as such, specific words. It really depends niche to niche. But it's got to kind of be clickbaity. You've got to try and say something that's going to make people go, oh, I want to click on that. So you have to do that. Obviously, I'm not saying be clickbaity and tell big porky pies on there. But try and make it more interesting than the dull stuff that's out there on a lot of other websites. So yeah, there's no best practice as such, that works across the board. And you've just got to try and suck people in, make it sound a bit more interesting than it probably is, because we're all saying the same garbage, aren't we? And it's hard to make SEO sound exciting as such, but yeah, it just depends on your niche. Rafael Santos, nice to see you too, mate. As I said, in every show that you appear, I love that name. Blogging text. Can I change the domain of my blog after doing so much SEO on it? Will it affect SEO? You will have an impact for sure, but you can obviously redirect your old blog to your new blog and pass a lot of the juice and stuff like that along the way. I've changed from the .co.uk to the .com. I've done various different things, and yeah, it had a slight impact. But if you're not happy with it, then get something that you're more settled on, and do the appropriate redirects and start from there. Because if it's not something you're 100% happy with, there's no point sitting continuing to blog on something that you don't feel 100% on. No problem, Gravesy. Is there any way to rank highly difficult keywords easy? What is your cost-effective strategy for on-page and off-page? So there is no trick. The thing with SEO is people are always looking for this trick. The trick is there is no trick. There is no way to easily rank for highly difficult keywords. Depending on what you determine a highly difficult keyword will determine the strategy that you employ. But there is no quick, easy, automated, special way that that SEOs are sitting on that they're not telling people. You've just got to do some good on page, some good off page, and make sure technically your website's sound and you've got the right calls to action and all that kind of stuff. What's my cost-effective strategy for on-page and off-page? Trying to get the best content and the best links at the best price. Trying to spend my money wisely. And I think, just because I've got experience, I've got a good shopping list of vendors that I can go to and spend that money a hell of a lot wiser than maybe some others. But again, this is a very broad question. It's very hard for me to say do this, do that, do that, because I don't know how difficult the keyword is or whatever. But in terms of link building and stuff, sometimes you just buy some guest posts and your stuff ranks. Sometimes you'll need to do guest posts and power those up. And then sometimes people have an even more aggressive tiered link building structure. So the off page really depends on how aggressive the niche that you're working in, such as gambling or whatever. You're going to have to be using PBNs, redirects, and a fairly aggressive tiered link building structure. On page is on page. Get content done, optimize it properly with the likes of POP or Surfer. That doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg. It's really down to you. Using people from countries that have a lower cost of living is something I would highly recommend. Why spend a fortune on stuff that you can get done at half the price elsewhere? So as long as that quality remains, then that's your good cost-effective strategy. John Kennedy, have you had experience with reputation management with SEO? I.e. someone writing bad articles and how to use SEO to appear above them. So, John, yes, I do. And I'll even give you a little example. Let me share my screen. So, for my own brand name, where is it? I am just trying to find out where this particular article is. I thought it was in page 4, but I'll give you a couple of examples here. Give me a second. I don't know what this guy's went to, but here's one here. Bought my page 4, and this is for my own self. There was also another article, which I'm not sure where it is. So let me check page 2. Best companies. See something from Ryan Houghton there. So I'll give you one example here because I can't find the other article. It's shoved away down. But you see here, SEO on SEO crime. So I'll tell you the story, actually. I was at Brighton SEO and people were trolling me on Twitter. And I'm not going to go into who it was or all that stuff, but there was an article someone posted that basically I'm a nutcase and I punched someone and blah, 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 blah. And obviously it was on Reddit and it ranked fairly highly, so anyone Googling my name would see that. Now, I'll come back to the story in a minute, but what you can do is obviously make sure that you rank your own assets, your own website, your Twitter, some PR, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, YouTube, and everything else, and squeeze all the crap down. So it's quite easy to do using Crunchbase or the power of other websites, or Ryan Houghton's done an article on me for some reason. There's a whole bunch of positive stuff, which of course pushes all the crap down. Now I'll show you the other example once I find it. Obviously that Brighton SEO thing's there. There was one other one where a guy was trying to, here it is. There was a guy, and it ranked really well for my brand. It's now at the bottom of page 5. The guy was going about telling everyone that, so I had this expired domain, Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage let his domain name go. I bought it to utilize the power of the domain name, and I was playing around with it, and I use it to speak at conferences, mainly to show people that high-profile guys do let their domains expire. Some geezer decided to make out as if I'm some dodgy scammer and I was trying to pretend to be Nigel Farage, and look, Craig Campbell is trying to pass his site off as Nigel Farage, blah, 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 blah. Now, it's actually stupid, but I don't want a whole lot of people seeing that, of course, so I decided to make sure it ended up in page 5. Now, I messaged the guy, and he's like, ha, I've got, you know, I'm ranking for your brand, blah, 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 blah. I know how to do SEO and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. It's quite easy to flush this, toss it out the way. And that is how you do it. Use the power of other platforms, LinkedIn, Medium, some of the PR articles and stuff like that. So it's very easy to do reputation management. How much of it really determines or really depends on how far you want to push it down. Now, in terms of the Brighton SEO incident, just in case people do think I'm an nutcase, I'm going to tell my side of the story here. So what happened there was I was getting trolled online on Twitter, and stupidly I said, like, to the guy, like, come and say it to my face or whatever, you know, give yourself a rest. And I was walking along the pier at Brighton, and had about 10 guys approach me and say they were going to punch the black hat off my head, and they were going to do this, that, and the next thing. And, you know, I was with my wife, who was 8 months pregnant at the time, and then someone tried to punch me, but nearly punched her. Now, I got myself out of that situation. I had friends that were 20 yards in front of me. No one was hurt, and all that kind of stuff dispersed. But the person that was trolling me ended up in the bar where I was. And I said, like, mate, do you know what you're doing? Like, do you realize the problem you're causing for me here? Like, people are coming up trying to punch my pregnant wife. And he went, well, you're a fucking asshole. You deserve it. I'm like, all right. And he said, if you put yourself on stage and you talk shit, then I'm entitled to my opinion, blah, 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 blah. And I ended up, you know, lifting my hand to the guy, which I shouldn't have done. However, you know, people were trying to punch my pregnant wife because of this guy, and that was that. But, you know, people were then painting a picture that I'm some kind of thug and I go around punching people, which wasn't the case. And obviously I wanted to push that article down, which is, of course, reputation management, my reputation at stake. So long-winded story there, John, but yeah, that's how you do it. Tommy Finnan, trying to set up a client's website for voice. Schema, you get any other tips? I don't really do voice, but Alida Solis talks a lot about voice if you want some tips on that. Schema is always good to have. Grab all those featured snippets and all that stuff. But with voice is not really my bag as such. I've not really done a lot with it myself, but you should, of course, take advantage and get as much as you can from that. Thank you, Blogging Tech. Charlie is cute. Vicky Verma, can you tell me about the top 3 steps if you want to beat a keyword with medium competition? Make sure your content's optimized properly. When I say optimized, use POP and make sure that you do match what these top players do have. And very often, more often than not, you will find that you'll get an increase with that. But you've also got to then reverse engineer the backlink profile and keep tweaking until you get there. You know, content links, you know, you've just got to continue to optimize. If you get there and you find that it's sticking in position 4, then try a bit of CTR. Works very well. At least how many blogs have I published my blog so far? Probably about 400, something like that. Is all I've got. It's not an easy task to find the time to do blogging all the time, but try my best to put out as much as I can. This is digital marketing. Oh, hello, good to see you. Just seen the picture there. Is there any benefit of getting backlinks from PR even if they are no follow? Yes, 100%. Who says that no follows don't pass juice? You know, that's all I'm going to say. But getting links from websites that drive traffic, click-through rate, and everything else, I would want that. Plus, it's always important to have a mix of no-follow links as well. So it's perfectly natural. I've got a bunch of PR links that are no-follow. Do they drive traffic? Do they help my website? I would say 100%. So, yeah, definitely. Link building is trending. Anything new or just old hat? Listen, a link's a link. It's obviously got to be relevant and you want links. The website is linking to you to also have traffic and rankings. But link building is link building. It's been around for a while and there's so many different quirks, tricks, call it what you like. And you've got to just go with the flow and do what works for your niche, and try to come up with new stuff. I think some of the good old techniques work very, very well. So yeah, just a link's a link. Get good quality relevant links, however you choose to go about it, and it will help you. Lee Wild, our competitors have lots of Google inquiries, brand name and login, SaaS product. How to hijack that traffic? Obviously, you can start to try and rank for the brand, or even, if it's a SaaS product like SEMrush or whatever, SEMrush review and stuff like that. You can do keywords like that, which of course people are searching for, and that is how you're going to take advantage of that person's brand or whatever. So do that. John Maku, does expired domains are worth it to start blogging? So yes and no. I mean, of course, using an expired domain that's got a backlink profile and everything else is going to give you an edge. But if you're going to start blogging, you're trying to build a personal brand, then I wouldn't be using an expired domain, because your personal brand is probably more important than giving yourself a head start with a backlink profile. So in your instance, I would say I wouldn't, unless you are so fortunate to find an expired domain that was going to be something that you could brand or use. But I think people obsess over using expired domain names now. You can still work with a new domain. It just takes a little bit longer and you've got to do a little bit more work. But for blogging, for sure, if it was a personal brand and everything else, then I would be looking at that before I would be looking for an expired domain. And yes, Itamar, you're right, guys. Give us a like and a subscribe to the channel if you don't mind, so I can continue to keep doing these. Andy Drinkwater, good to see you. Hope all is well. He's always busy, and he doesn't talk to me much anymore. James Moore, Craig, do you do any Parasite SEO to take up more real estate in page one? 100%. And James, I think taking advantage, as I said when I was talking about the reputation management stuff, taking advantage of the likes of Medium, for example, why wouldn't you do that? And I know you've mentioned Medium there as well, but these are powerful domain names, and if you can jump on that and start to rank for kind of middle of the road keywords or whatever, or your own brand, then why the hell would you not? And that was demonstrated when I showed that little thing around reputation management. So Parasite SEO is probably perfect for that type of thing, but also to take up more real estate. And I think protect your brand, protect yourself from that even being a problem. Don't wait until it's a problem. I think just taking up more of the landscape is a good thing to do. So yeah. Andy Drinkwater, Mrs. Brighton SEO. Don't we all, Andy? And while you're on multiple accounts, make sure that you like and subscribe. But Brighton, I miss it myself. Miss getting out and having a laugh with the guys, and obviously sharing tips and knowledge and learning and everything else that goes along with these type of events. Hopefully they come back. Agency Hacker, what do you think will be a key ranking factor for SEOs to focus on in 2021, man? It's hard to say. I mean, I don't personally think SEO has changed that much. As such, there's always these little quirks, such as what Paul Hogden is saying, like Google Passages, where they may index certain parts of your page and stuff like that. But again, still going to boil down to good on page and good link building, and obviously keeping on top of your tech and all of the kind of other stuff that's out there. So I don't think there's anything that's going to change that much, to be honest. I think it's obviously for me, adding more schema and scaling up that side of things, because I've been late to the party with that, is something I'm going to be adding to the mix. But I think just making sure that you future-proof your business, make sure that you are using POP or Surfer to further optimize your content. No, people are always looking for a new thing, but I think there's a lot of things that are missed with your current state of play, such as, people don't power up their existing backlink profile. They're always looking for new link building opportunities. How about powering up what you've already got? How about further optimizing the content that you already have and making it better? Making your content rank for 100 keywords rather than the 10 keywords. So I think, a lot of people are looking for something new, and I think they don't even double down and do what currently works very well. So I think that's more of what I'm going to be doing over the next year, is not so much scaling volume, but more quality and future-proofing my stuff, and adding schema and stuff like that. And I think you've got to take that approach, because scale is not going to work. It's future-proof, getting better quality and everything else. And I think that's something we need to focus on, because that's what Google algorithm updates are all about anyway, is catching out the garbage and weeding it out, flushing it out. So hopefully that answers your question, and no problem, John. Hopefully that helps. If you have any issues, just ping me on LinkedIn, and I'll be more than happy to give you any other details you need. Daniel Gerber, I have a well-ranking page, 10 causes of. I want to update it to 15. Safest way to do that and retain the ranking. Just change the 10 to 15 and go for it. And I don't think you will. I don't think your rankings will slump. I've had instances where I've done the 7 best this or the 5 best that, and then I've changed it to 10, 12, 15. And that figure isn't really that important. It's more the stuff round about that. So given I know what you do, Daniel, and I've seen your stuff. Given what you do, I don't think that's, it's not the 10 causes that are the kind of main search term. It's, it's the causes of what you do that's the main search. So that 10 or 15 or 12 or whatever number you want to have, I don't really think is that relevant and won't make a huge difference. So, I think adding more content to your page is certainly going to improve that page and hopefully rank it for more search terms. So yeah, just do it. Don't worry about rankings. I don't think that will have any kind of impact at all. Which is the best email marketing tool? Personally, I'm using ActiveCampaign at the moment, just because it works for what I do. But there's a lot of good ones. I've used Aweber, I've used MailChimp. It really comes down to what you do with your email marketing tool. But I think for many people, trying to just find the lowest cost-effective solution for what you need it to do is the best option for you. They all do the same thing. I just like ActiveCampaign because some of the automation and stuff like that that's there, which helps me segment my lists and stuff. But yeah, each to their own. Whatever works well for you is the one you should go for. Vicky Verma, can you give me a few black hat techniques that do not get caught? So it's a question and answer session. I don't want to bog down with black hat stuff. I've got a ton of black hat videos out there. Also, if you go to Chris Palmer SEO, he has a lot of black hat stuff on there as well. But I don't want to get bogged down in numerous black hat techniques, because a lot of this audience are not at that level, and it's more just general question and answers that I want to do for this, because it's obviously a lot of the people that have done my free SEO course and stuff. So I don't want to, muddy the waters too much with black hat techniques. I do have other videos on black hat techniques, and just Google black hat SEO on YouTube. You'll see me and you'll see Chris Palmer and you'll see other guys there. Some good tips on there. So hopefully that helps you, mate. Is schema.org important for SEO? Yes. Take up more of the landscape, get your featured snippets and everything else, and any FAQs and all of that stuff. I think, just grabbing as much of the landscape as you can will not do you any harm whatsoever. So definitely implement it. Carol Morley, what would you say the maximum click depth should be? I mean, obviously, you look at tools like SEMrush and they're saying, no more than 3 clicks and stuff like that. I would probably, I mean, it really depends on your money pages. Of course, they need to be highly visible, or in your main navigation and stuff like that. But a lot of people don't realize that even if you've got stuff that's buried on your website, or 3 clicks away or 4 clicks or whatever it might be, people Google that long tail keyword and land on that particular page anyway. So is the click depth that important from that side of things? No, but obviously I think it's important, from a getting crawled and indexed point of view. So I would always try and keep it to as low as you can, and try and have it 3 clicks away, just to make sure that stuff stays in the index more than anything. But I don't really overthink it or whatever, to be honest. I think a lot of my blog posts and stuff like that, are more than 3 clicks away in certain instances. And what I tend to do is just move my blog posts around, put them out in social media, maybe submit them to an indexing tool just to make sure that they stay in the index. So that kind of covers that, hopefully, and gives you kind of what I do. Jessica Tinker, do you have any recommendations for storytelling with SEO data? What do you mean by recommendations? Like, I mean, for me, I can get SEO data from the likes of SEMrush and tell good stories, or do good PR round about that data. So that really comes from you. I think Ross Tavendale once got an article or told a story with SEO data, and I think, what was it? He done again. It was some kind of weird angle, and I'm pretty sure I can't even remember the story, so I'm not even going to tell it in case I botch it up. But there's so many different stories you can tell with SEO data. Funny stories. I mean, even SEMrush do quizzes on it, like when you're at these parties and stuff. What do you think is more searched, Cristiano Ronaldo or Leo Messi? And these kind of things can all be tweaked into telling good stories. So there's a lot of different stuff you can do if that's what you mean. And a lot of PR stuff you can go around talking about as well. And I know Ross Tavendale does a lot with that SEO data, and just says to SEMrush, can you pull this data and give it to me? And then starts to pitch PR articles based around those data sets. So, and SEMrush do that themselves as well. So there's a lot of fun and stuff you can mold these things into and tell good stories. So trying to be less boring with SEO data. And I think who is the most popular? Ronaldo or Messi is a great one, for guys that like football. And you can do that, across a whole bunch of other footballers as well. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight, but I'm not sure if I answered that to what you were looking for. But if I haven't answered that properly, just let me know what you mean in terms of recommendations. Ryan Durrani, what's the one part of SEO that took you the longest to understand? That's a hard one, mate. That's hard. Let me think. I mean, I think what took me the biggest thing to get my head around was that there was no secrets to SEO. And, when people were making out like they're doing all this special stuff, or they've got these special tools that I didn't have access to. And one of the biggest things I didn't realize when I was starting out is that so many people are full of shit. And I just thought everyone was telling the truth, naively, thinking that, that guy can't lie. He's been a speaker here, there, and everywhere. So no way can he lie. And I think once you get your head around that SEO is just a game, the same as everything else in life, and that there are bullshitters, there are scamsters, there are, you know, sales guys pitching you and telling you this is the best way to sell their tool. You know, I think when you're naive, you fall for all that stuff because you don't know. I think that was something I went round in circles for the first 5 years of my life. Not really, just believing everyone that said anything. And I was in a right mess, you know, just going round in circles and nothing was working. So that was probably the longest learning curve I had, was trying to cut away all that bullshit and just say, fuck this, you know, this can't be that hard. Try this, try that, try that. And yeah, I got there in the end. Who's my favorite blogger? I'll say Matthew Woodward. Probably because he was doing affiliate marketing before most, and I really enjoyed watching his journey of traveling the world and making money whilst he was doing it. And he used to post his little monthly earning reports and saying, like, I'm making money from selling this, and this. And it just, you know, I thought it was quite inspiring. And yeah, it probably would have to be him, if I'm being honest. But listen, there's a lot of good bloggers, and as I've said, to anyone who asked me where, you know, or who did you learn the most from, I didn't learn the most from any one particular guy. I've just stole little bits from a whole bunch of people over the years, and that's not just bloggers, you know, at conferences or watching people talk. You know, you look at the likes of Don Anderson and stuff, super technical, you know, super obsessed with how search engines work. And you know, I've listened to some of her talks, and you're like, man, she thinks about things very differently. And you know, there's just so many little snippets I've had from so many different people, and some of these are not even well known people, you know, just some guys at conferences and stuff that you bump into regularly who don't do the whole public speaking thing. Picked up a lot of tips from guys there as well. So there's a lot of good people out there. Elementor Pro or Thrive Architect, I don't use either. Elementor is good, but has a lot of bloated code. So you just need to be wary of that. Best tool to implement Schema, manually add it. I think a lot of the tools do a reasonably good job. I've got WordLift as well, if that helps. But I think that manually, you know, nothing's going to beat manual work. And Ryan Durrani, who's been commenting on here, has done some manual schema for me on my website, just because I'm too lazy to do it and can't be bothered, and don't claim to be an expert on it either. So either pay someone to do it or get someone to do it, or, you know, whatever. I think manually is the best way. It works a hell of a lot better. And cheers, Bradley. Do check out Agency Hacker. Bradley Bennett is straight talking, no nonsense kind of guy. So check him out. Legend. Which table of content plugin are you using on my blog? I think it's just WordPress table of contents, just a free plugin. It's nothing special, but it does the job for me. So yeah, nothing fancy there. What's the best software to generate backlinks? Now, if I'm not going to sit here and say that you should be generating automated backlinks. As such, of course, you know, I'll use them as part of a tiered link building structure, or I'll use automation to point to PBNs or guest posts or whatever. And that tool would be SEO Autopilot. So have a look at that. You know, lots of people use GSA, RankerX, and blah, 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 blah. My preferred choice is SEO Autopilot. Just it's a personal thing, and I just like it, and it works. So, yeah. Future of digital marketing after 5 years, absolutely no idea. Just constantly evolving, but you know, we've been asked this question in 2015, and it's now 2020, and we thought all this amazing stuff would be here. It's not actually that amazing. So I think you just got to, don't look at it 5 years, look, just do what's working for now and adapt is your best bet, rather than trying to figure out what's going to happen in 5 years, because it may or may not ever happen. So just keep doing what you're doing. It's certainly evolved a lot since 2015 or even 10 years ago, but the main concepts are still the same. Just things have changed and little bits have been added and all of that stuff. So you just got to adapt to what's working. Is Sendinblue email marketing tool good? I've personally not used it, so I can't see either way. So I'm not too sure on that particular tool. For automation, Active Campaign, agreed, John. It's a great piece of kit. Thanks for your help, no problem. What is DA and PA? Domain authority and page authority, two different metrics. Don't be obsessed with metrics. Different tools have different metrics. Ahrefs have DR, domain rating, just a kind of third-party score in terms of giving you an idea of how powerful a domain is. So stick to one that works for you and works within the industry. I think if you're buying links and all that kind of stuff, DR is the one that most people use. So that's the one I kind of gauge things on. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, mate. Guys, if you do enjoy the content, please make sure that you do give us a like and subscribe. Carl Morley, just looking at UX in a product and it takes 4 clicks to get to the said range of products. If you've got a whole bunch of products on there, I would try to get that down slightly, Carol, where possible. It's not something I would be too obsessed with, though. Again, when you're working with certain platforms and e-commerce providers, there's just certain things that you just can't get around, and it is what it is. Are you going to rank that differently from 3 to 4 clicks? Probably not. The only thing, as I said before, would be the kind of indexing. That's all I'd be worried about. Do I know Anil Agarwal? Yes. His latest ebook is a good ebook. I've not read it all, but I've had a quick look at it. But Anil Agarwal certainly knows his stuff. Good guy and someone definitely worth checking out. So yeah, have a look at that book, guys. Future of SEO, not sure. Storytelling in a presentation. So Jessica, yeah. So what I was saying, storytelling in a presentation, there's lots of good data, and SEMrush are very good. If you've got any ideas of a story you want to tell, they can pull all the data for you, and they're more than happy to do that, as long as you obviously cite them for that. But yeah, I think storytelling in a presentation, around data is really where you want to be at. And I think data, we don't want people telling stories that could be porky pies. I think data or backing up those claims is a great way to do it. And as I say, most of these data tool providers or people with those large data sets are more than happy to share that. You just need to ask them what you want, and obviously make claims and or tell your story, but obviously back it up with data. So yeah, I mean, every time I tell a story, I try and back it up with some kind of evidence, whether it's data or whether it's something. There's got to be something there, because anyone can see anything. If there's nothing to back that up, then you are stuffed. And even when I tell stories about expired domains, I've went a long-winded way about it. I've got that Nigel Farage domain that expired, and I'd use that to tell stories at a presentation, just because it's funnier to tell a story about that in a high profile guy than maybe some jackass domain that doesn't mean anything. So yeah, just ask and they will give you it, and just think of a creative angle that's just less boring than than what it is. So yeah, Quotes Villa, Hi Craig, tell me in details of links quantity versus quality versus both. I mean, you, I'm not interested in quantity. I think quality matters. And relevance matter. And I think if you do that, you won't need the quantity that maybe some other guys are doing. If I look at many people's backlink profiles, you could probably get away with 20% of what they're doing, and the other 80% is just wasted garbage. And that's where I want to cherry pick and get the best value from their backlink profiles as I possibly can. And it's always about quality, not quantity. It's that's been around for years though. Over the past few years, I think Google are looking at quality. And when I say quality, I mean relevance and websites that actually have rankings and traffic, rather than some garbage old expired domain that someone shoved up as a PBN that doesn't pass any value. So that's kind of metrics I'm looking for, but definitely I'm not a quantity guy, and I wouldn't try to be that guy either. Terry Power, hope you're all good. Long time no see. Terry's based over in the US. We met at SEO Rockstars, or NFG Rockstars as it was last year, but SEO Rockstars is on this year. Hopefully see you there again, Terry. Obviously it's not in person this year, but it would be good to see you there. Is it possible to be called a pro blogger if you want to start earning from your blog? And you can call yourself what you want, just to earn money, and the name calling will come after that. Which page builder did I use? I didn't use a page builder on my own website. I got that custom built. I think they used the Genesis theme and then modified it to suit me. But yeah, I didn't use a page builder, just slows stuff down, and I wasn't a fan of any of the kind of page builders that are out there. To clarify, do you have any recommendations for presenting SEO data in a creative way to someone that does not understand SEO? I mean, it's hard to do this on a Q&A, Jessica, because message me on LinkedIn and give me a bit more background in terms of what you're trying to present. Is it link building? Is it content? Is it on page? What are you trying to achieve here, or are you trying to sell to these people? I'll be able to give a better idea there. Just on a Q&A, it's hard for my creative mind to work. My mind goes blank. But yeah, I'm sure I'll be able to come up with something creative if I've just got a wee bit of time to think about it. So yeah, I'll ping me a message and I'll have a look and hopefully come up with some ideas, and obviously give me a better understanding. Are you trying to pitch to these people to get them to buy into SEO, or what the angle is, and I'll be able to help you. Reply Freak, what to do for international SEO? Hreflang tags will help you, but it really depends on what you mean by international SEO. If you want to launch a whole bunch of websites and use the country specific TLDs, that's a great option. Amazon do that. But again, it depends on the size of your website and what you're trying to achieve. Don't lie, I'm the schema god. Elbow cough. Ryan fancies himself as a schema god, but he's really just my VA guy. So there you go. That's your compliment, Ryan. I want to do two things at a time. Hear your Q&As and search how many times I can use Ahrefs 7 days trial. I'll search later unless you already know. No idea, man. I have no idea on that, but let me know when you know. Suhaib, did you ever experience pages disappearing from Serps or sudden negative fluctuations in rankings? How do you deal with them? What do you say to your clients? So, of course, some pages do fall out the index now and again. It's not a regular thing if the content's unique, and you've got a good backlink profile going to those pages and stuff like that, then it's not too much of a problem. But of course, that does happen from time to time, and you just need to reverse engineer why that's happening. Do you have enough links? Is your navigation on point? Is your internal linking on point? Is the content good enough to stay in the index? Why is it dropping out? And that's what you need to unravel. What you tell your clients entirely up to you. Obviously, you need to buy more time and rectify the situation. Pages do drop out the index, and you just have to make sure that doesn't happen. Why yours are dropping out the index, there has to be a reason for that, one reason or another. And it's just trying to find out what that reason is, and whether it's poor content, and then sort out your processes from there. Guys, make sure you do give me a like and subscribe. Correct. Best ways to promote a blog post: rank your blog post, share it in social media. 2 great ways to do it. Reason to design: it happens regularly. If they bounce back and you're doing the right thing, just mention to them that it's Google's way of rolling out updates or changes to the algo. How internal linking and external? I'm not answering that, man. Internal linking, Andy Drinkwater's got a good guide. External linking is just link building, Google link building guide. But it's just too broad a question. PBN really works. Yes. People will claim that PBNs don't work. Some other will claim it works like a charm. There are good and bad ways to use PBNs, and it's about avoiding leaving footprints. Do it in moderation. And what is a PBN? Is it just some crappy website that gets no traffic, has no rankings? Absolutely not. Most good people's PBNs would tend to be probably other money websites that they've got and stuff like that. So again, it depends on what you call a PBN, but PBNs, private blog networks, the real ones that avoid footprints and are maybe doubled up as in a someone's money site, and they do get traffic and rankings, can work very, very well. And you look at any industry that's relatively competitive, and you'll see that they're still working very well. So hopefully that helps you. Just Free Hub. 1 month ago, my GMB was ranking. Then I had to change the GMB name, but my ranking went down. Despite I got some legit reviews from some of your clients, what should you do now? Citations to your GMB. Try and make it remain consistent, and send some traffic to the GMB and get some interaction going on your GMB as well. That also helps. But in general, the name, address, and postcode have got to remain consistent. You can use SEObuilder.com to build some citations, but you can also send some traffic and get some engagement on your GMB, which does go a long way to showing Google that GMB is better than the competition, and in turn will rank it. So GMB is fairly easy, and I've got a few videos on GMBs and local SEO that you might want to watch on my YouTube channel, so have a look for them, and it'll go into that stuff in a bit more detail. And yes, what Paul's saying, if you want to get more people to see your blog post, watch what Craig does. He follows his own advice and promotes himself everywhere. He appears all over the place, and that is powerful. Yeah, just share it in social media, get videos going, get this, that, and the next thing going. There's no rocket science to this. You've just got to put in the hard work and dedication and expose your blog for all you can. David Moore. How do you decide whether a link should be tier 1 or tier 2? How do you decide on the threshold to link directly to your main site or to layer it? So my money sites here, below that, I might have like 5 guest posts to begin with, that are all going to be kind of generic but powerful, semi-relevant websites. And then underneath that, I'm going to blast it with PBNs, niche edits, automation, and everything else. And that pretty much is the standard process across the board. Now, whether I decide it's 5 PBNs, I'm just going to start with 5 PBN, 5 guest posts. If that method doesn't work, then I may add 10. I may add 15. And replicate that process. How much do you need to rank in any given niche really depends. And sometimes, I do 5 guest posts and do a little bit of powering up, and I rank really well. If I need to add some PBNs to the mix, some niche edits or whatever else, that depends on the competition and stuff like that. But how do I decide whether a link should be a tier 1 or tier 2? I'm protecting my money website with some guest posts, which are relevant, real websites with real traffic, and then anything under it, a link's a link. I don't really care. I'm utilizing it for power, and I'm fairly aggressive with that. At the moment, as it stands, a link is a link, and you've just got to do that in an aggressive manner without damaging your own money website, which is why I've always got that buffer of guest posts. How many tiers should you build? Very often, tier 2 or tier 3 is the maximum you're going to go, but that comes down to you and how competitive that niche is. As I say, some people can rank with guest posts alone. Some people can rank pretty well with just good on page and, a handful of guest posts. So just try it out and see where it goes, and then just scale up from there. But yeah, hopefully that helps. One man advised me that you don't need to diversify your link profile, because a website ranks because 20% of the whole linked profile. Whoever's telling you don't need to diversify it has no clue. Diversify that stuff. Keep it looking natural. And yeah, be careful who you listen to, man. A lot of people tell you a load of garbage out there. Diversify it. How much do you need to diversify? It's anyone's guess. I just try and keep mine looking as natural as I possibly can. Do PR, and I do a whole bunch of other stuff as well. So, I don't know why someone would tell you don't need to diversify it, but yeah. And do Google Ads helps any percentage to rank in Google organically? So the answer is yes and no. Do Google Ads specifically just help you rank organically? People say yes, people say no, there's no way. But the click-through rate and engagement from the ads onto your page, 100% do help you rank well. So I think using any kind of paid ads, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Google or whatever, as long as it's all done with the right, they all work together. And I think, that click-through rate and engagement signals do help you rank organically. But by simply just having a Google AdWords campaign does not mean that you're automatically going to rank any better. But as long as you're hitting the right landing pages, getting the right traffic on there, and keeping those people on there, then yes, the answer would be yes. That click-through rate and engagement stuff is very, very powerful. And if you look at the CTR manipulation videos I've got out there, I've demonstrated that does clearly work. So yeah. And David Moore, no problem at all. Tich Bawal, how to rank product pages. Just make sure you've got enough content on there. Do what the competition are doing. Reverse engineer their own page and replicate that and build some links to that product page as well. James Moore, thank you very much. Guys, we are out of time, but I will do this every Monday from now on in, and answer your questions. Hopefully the answers here have helped you guys. And just one final shout out to the sponsor. I'll never ever get this right, but odys.global are giving you £100. Credit if you want to sign up and look for age domains or done for you affiliate websites. So check out ODYS. And I'm back tomorrow with Cashflow Digital, back in Wednesday for the usual question and answers with Chris Palmer. We do have SEO Tales coming out tomorrow as well. And yeah, hopefully you guys can join us for that. But make sure you do give us a like and subscribe, guys, if you haven't already. And I will catch you on the next show. Cheers.